Mist and Teddy were the founding members of a tagging crew that evolved into a gang known as TNS, Trust No Souls. Victim Manuel Barajas, also known as Bonk or Manny, was a member or former member of another tagging crew that had become a documented gang known as ALS, another Logan soldier. On the afternoon of August 11th, 2002, Barajas, his longtime friends Jesus Garcia, also known as Cheech, and Jesus Flores, also known as Bozo, and Flores's 4-year-old son Javier stopped at the Gigante Market on 32nd Street and National Avenue in southeast San Diego to buy carne asada for a picnic at the beach. When they exited Cheech's truck in the parking lot, Teddy approached them from across the street. Teddy and Bonk, who had fought previously, agreed to a one-on-one fight and walked into the alley behind the market. A few minutes later, Cheech, Bozo, and Javier walked toward the alley and met Bonk coming out of the alley. They saw Teddy on the ground trying to stand up. Bonk told them he had knocked out Teddy with one punch. The group then entered the market to buy their groceries for the beach. Bozo pointed out that Bonk had blood on his shirt, so he left the store and went home to change his shirt. Bonk lived with his sister and brother-in-law in a house on the 3200 block of Logan Avenue around the corner from the market. After they bought their groceries, Cheech, Bozo, and Javier got into Cheech's truck, and Cheech drove toward Bonk's house. As they passed the alley between National Avenue and Logan Avenue to the north, they saw a group of 4 to 8 Hispanic males run out of the alley toward the market. One of the males raised a hand and gestured or pointed toward the truck. Cheech drove past Bonk's house without stopping to pick up Bonks as planned because he did not want to bring trouble to the house. Instead, he turned right on 33rd Street, drove 1 block south to National Avenue, turned right on National Avenue, westbound, and drove 2 blocks to 31st Street, turned right on 31st Street and then right from 31st Street back onto Logan Avenue, eastbound, and parked in the middle of the 3100 block of Logan Avenue. Cheech, Bozo, and Javier then exited the truck and walked east on Logan toward Bonk's house. Bozo was carrying a car club, steering wheel locking device, he took from the truck. Meanwhile, a group of Hispanic males that included Mist's older brother, Mario Ojito, also known as Casper, confronted residents of Gary Reyes's home on the 3100 block of Logan, demanding to know where Manny was. Reyes told them there was no Manny living there and asked them to leave his property. Some or all of the group, including Casper, then went to Bonk's house on the 3200 block of Logan and confronted Bonk's brother-in-law, Angel Zepeda, who was in his front yard with his 2-year-old daughter. Casper challenged Zepeda, saying, "What's up, motherfucker? You want some of this shit too? Or what?" At some point, Bonk came out of the house onto the front porch and Mr. joined the group. Casper said to Bonk, "What's up, fool?" "Come out here, punk. Come outside, fool." A minute or two later, Teddy's cousin Fabio Garcia, also known as Thief, rode up on a bicycle and joined the group. He yelled at Bonk, "You jumped my cousin, fool." Bonk responded, "I didn't jump nobody, fool." "I beat his ass." Thief then pulled a handgun from his midsection, pointed it at Bonk, and pulled the trigger, but the gun did not fire. He lowered the gun and looked at it, pointed it at Bonk, and pulled the trigger a second time, and the gun again failed to fire. The group left Zepeda's property, and Zepeda took his daughter into the house and locked the front door, leaving Bonk outside. A few minutes later, Zepeda put his son and daughter in his car and drove eastbound on Logan Avenue. As he drove away, he saw Bonk standing on the corner of Logan and 32nd Street with a neighbor. When Cheech, Bozo, and Javier exited Cheech's truck and started walking toward Bonk's house, they saw Bonk on the corner of 32nd Street and Logan walking toward them. Bonk met them near the corner and they all began to walk westbound toward Cheech's truck while Bonk told them about the incident that had just occurred at his house. Before they reached the truck, Teddy and Mist confronted them on the sidewalk. Teddy was wearing a backpack on his chest and had his hand in the backpack. Bozo brandished the car club he had taken from Cheech's truck and told Mist and Teddy to back the fuck up because his son was with him. Moments later, a red car driven by Giovanni Pineda stopped at the scene of the confrontation. Casper and Mist's younger brother, Victor Rodriguez, immediately exited the car and joined Mist and Teddy. Pineda also joined the group after pulling his car to the curb. Pineda had been driving to Teddy's house to visit him after taking his girlfriend home when he saw Rodriguez and Casper on the sidewalk. They called out to him and waved him over, so he made a U-turn and stopped to pick them up. He knew Rodriguez, but had never met Casper. Rodriguez told Pineda to pick up Teddy because Teddy had gotten into a fight and had been hit. Rodriguez then directed Pineda to the scene of the confrontation. At the scene, Teddy was holding a white blood-stained shirt over his right temple and forehead area and had a large lump on that area of his head. He appeared to be dazed and dizzy. Mist, Casper, and Teddy accused Bozo, Cheech, and Bonk of jumping Teddy, and Mist asked what Teddy had been hit with. Bozo, Cheech, and Bonk replied that nobody had jumped Teddy. Cheech and Bozo told Teddy to take an ass whooping like a man. Teddy responded, "Fuck that shit, fuck that shit." He started to pull a gun out of his backpack, and Cheech told him, "Put that thing away." He responded, "It's put away." But he kept his hand in the backpack. Casper mainly confronted Bozo, standing almost chest to chest in front of him. Bozo attempted to put Javier in an adjacent fenced-in yard, but Casper prevented him from doing so. Bozo told Casper, "Back the fuck up off me. Don't you see my son next to me?" Mist, who was standing next to Teddy, leaned toward Teddy and whispered something to him. Then Mist and Teddy told Bonk he had better run. Bonk started running westbound, and Teddy took the handgun out of his backpack and fired it at Bonk. Bonk jumped over a fence into a yard, and Teddy and Mist ran after him. Teddy fired more shots, and Bonk fell in the yard, got up and ran a few more steps, and then fell again. Pineda, Teddy, and Mist then ran to Pineda's car and got into the car, and Mist told Pineda to drive. As Pineda drove away from the scene, Teddy gave the gun to Mist. Teddy told Pineda to drive to a nearby Costco store to look for a telephone. When they did not find a telephone at the store, Pineda drove toward his house so Teddy and Mist could use the telephone there. Near Pineda's house, police officers in a patrol car made a U-turn and followed Pineda's car with their overhead lights activated. Pineda did not stop until he drove into his driveway because he did not have a license and did not want the police to take his car. Before Pineda stopped, Mist announced he was going to run. When the car stopped, Mist immediately jumped out and ran from the scene with the gun. Police arrested Teddy and Pineda in front of Pineda's house. An officer who arrived to assist the first officers at the scene attempted to find Mist by following the path he had taken. A nearby resident told the officer she had heard someone run across her roof. The officer climbed onto the roof and found 6 spent bullet casings on a vent cap. Mist was arrested about 6 weeks later at the home of Jose Michael Rodriguez, also known as Che Che, following a standoff with the San Diego Police Department SWAT team. Bonk sustained 3 gunshot wounds. He died from blood loss caused by a bullet that entered his back and severed his spinal cord and then hit a major portal vein, adrenal gland, his liver, and a rib before coming to rest under the skin of his chest.